Hello, my name is Uwe. In this video I'm going to give you a little overview and a stitching demo of this US StitchLine blind stitch machine, blind hammer. It's model SL817-2. It has a few controls. The main one is this one here. This allows you to adjust how deep the needle will penetrate into the fabric as you're stitching. If you turn it to the right, it will penetrate less. If you turn it to the left, it will penetrate more. This dial here allows you to adjust the thread tension. This dial here allows you to change the stitch pattern. In the right 1-1 setting, it will make every stitch. In the left setting, sometimes to turn a little bit to get it to catch into this position, it will only make every second stitch to have fewer stitches visible on the underside of this hem. So I'm going to leave it in the 1-1 position for now. And it also has a swing away support platform, and it has a knee lift that allows you to swing away the bottom part of the mechanism to insert and remove the fabric. So let me zoom in on the mechanism and show you how this machine makes a stitch. I'm using the knee lift to insert the fabric. I'm lowering the bottom mechanism. So when you insert the fabric with the fold should line up with this notch here in this part here. When the machine is adjusted properly, when it pierces the fabric, it will pick up just a few threads on the underside. And then loop things around for a chain stitch to attach the fold of the hem to the lower part of the fabric. And here it's actually picking up a little bit too much of the bottom fabric. So let me adjust the stitch dial. Well, let me show you the extremes. If I turn it a couple dials to the right to make it way less, you can see that it no longer pierces the bottom part of the fabric. It's actually not picking up anything anymore because the needle is riding way too high. So if I turn the dial, you can probably see the fabric being pushed up. Now when I dial, it kind of got a little bit out of alignment actually. The fold is no longer riding in that notch. So I need to adjust my fabric just a little bit. So there we go. Now it's picking up just a few threads of the bottom layer to attach the fold. If I turn the dial much higher or to the left to give it much more of a penetration, it will pick up much more of the bottom fabric and the stitch will be more noticeable on the underside. I'll show you how that looks later on. So let me also show you the difference between the two settings with the 1-1 and the 2-1 settings. We've made these stitches on the 1-1. If I flip the lever over to the 2.1 position and make a few stitches, you will see that it only pushes up the fabric every other time, the full amount. So if I dial it back just a little bit to have the correct depth for normal stitching, because this is where it should pick up just a few stitches, on every other stitch it should only pick up just the top fold. So here both, here just the top, and then both again, the bottom fabric. So in the 2-1 setting, it will skip the bottom fabric every other stitch, which makes it less visible because you have half as many stitches visible on the underside to begin with. So let me flip it back over to the 1-1 setting, and now it will pick up the bottom fabric every time as well. I'm going to dial it and just a little bit more to give a little bit less of penetration, because I really only want the stitch to pick up a few threads on the underside. A little bit more. All right. So let me turn on the motor and show you how this machine looks and sounds under power. So here we go. Motor is on, and I'm going to make a few stitches under motor power. Here we go. All right. Now when you take out the fabric, you have to be a little bit careful. Since it's a chain stitch, it will just unravel if you pull. All right, so here's the stitch that we just made. What I'm talking about is if you just pull on the thread here, your stitch line will just become undone. So one way to secure it is to loop it through, and then this will secure the stitch in a way where you can no longer just tug it to unravel the whole thing. So this is what the stitch looks like when we're attaching the hemmed part to the other side of the fabric, and it makes a nice even stitch. Got a little bit messy when I was twisting the dials here back and forth, so let me show you the back side. So here the fabric, the stitches are visible here, perhaps a little bit more than I really needed to. I purposely chose a dark thread so that you can see the stitches very well against the white fabric that I'm stitching. Over here, this is the area where I switched the dial to the 2-1 setting, and you can see the distance between the visible stitches is twice as far. And here we're back in the normal setting where I was playing with the depth. So those are the basic settings and adjustments that you can make on this machine here. And this here is sort of the normal stitch. This is what we are looking for. On the back side, perhaps actually a little bit less than that. I'm picking up the thread here is a little bit too visible for my taste, so I would have dialed back to make the needle penetrate a little bit less, to make this part less visible on the other side. Anyways, this is the overview of the US StitchLine blind stitch machine model SL718-2.